Hello, Namaskar. This is Firstpost and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. It's been a week since the terror attack in Kashmir's Pahalgam. Tensions along the border remain high. Pakistan continues to fire nightly across the line of control. The defense minister says that an attack is imminent. How is India responding to these provocations, and what is the thinking behind the LOC violations? On the other side of the border, Pakistan is reportedly evacuating its terror camps, sending terrorists into hiding. Is Turkey arming Pakistan in this escalating conflict against India? Pakistan has also closed its airspace to Indian flights, but it seems they are the ones paying the price. Pakistani citizens in India now face a deadline to leave the country. What happens if they don't? Meanwhile, the Global Defence Spending Report has been released. What does it reveal? In Canadian politics, there's a clear winner and a loser from the election. The winner is Mark Carney, and the biggest loser is Khalistani Jagmeet Singh. We'll tell you why. It's been 100 days of the Trump presidency or 100 days of chaos, depending on who you ask. In a bizarre turn, the US Navy loses a $60 million jet in the Red Sea. How did they manage that? Plus, a massive power outage has left parts of Europe in the dark. All this and more coming up. The headlines first. More than a dozen people killed in sectarian clashes in Syria. The violence took place near the capital Damascus. It was sparked by an alleged recording of a Druze man cursing Prophet Muhammad. This is the latest episode of deadly sectarian violence in Syria. It follows last month's massacre in the Alawite coastal heartland. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan arrives in Rome. He will hold talks with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni as the two Mediterranean countries look to boost trade and cooperation. Also on the agenda will be the war in Ukraine and migration. Italy is Turkey's second largest commercial partner in Europe. A restaurant fire in northeastern China kills at least 22 people. The blaze erupted during lunchtime and engulfed the two-story restaurant. Earlier this month, 20 people died in a fire at a nursing home in the northern part of the country. Deadly fires are fairly common in China due to lax building codes. Landlocked Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger back Morocco's initiative, which will give them access to the Atlantic Ocean. The foreign ministers of the three junta-ruled nations met the King of Morocco to discuss the plan. This comes amid growing tensions between Morocco's regional rival Algeria and the Sahel states. And Hungary passes a law exempting women with 2 or 3 children from paying income tax. This is part of a costly drive to try to reverse its population decline. Mothers of 2 children under the age of 40 will get lifetime income tax exemptions from next year, while those with 3 kids won't have to pay income tax from this October. Another night, another provocation. It's been the story since Thursday last week. You've seen daily firing across the line of control. Yesterday night was no different. It was the 5th consecutive night of Pakistani firing. And this time they hit new areas. Until yesterday, the incidents were reported in Kashmir in areas like Poonch, Kupwara and Baramulla. But yesterday, firing was reported in Jammu as well, specifically in the Akhnur sector. So it looks like Pakistan has no intention to let up. They want to provoke India at the LOC. Now, some quick context here. The LOC is the de facto boundary between India and Pakistan. It is more than 700 kilometers long. You can trace its origins to the War of 1947. That's when India and Pakistan fought for the first time. Now, just to be clear, the LOC is not a legal international border. It is only a military line. There is supposed to be a ceasefire along this frontier, but clearly it's on its last legs. Until now, no casualties have been reported in India. Our forces are hitting back. Yesterday, they responded in, and I'm quoting, in a measured and effective manner. That's how they put it. And that's all the army is saying at the moment. They are not going into details about the firing. The question is, what is Pakistan's goal here? Why are they provoking an already enraged India? Chances are it could be for deterrence. Islamabad knows that India is plotting a retaliation. So by firing across the LOC, they're saying, don't try anything. We are ready. Pakistan's defense minister hinted at this. He said an Indian attack is imminent.
There is a likelihood that India will attempt an incursion in Pakistan and will engage Pakistan militarily. That is a possibility, a very clear and stark possibility. Cannot be ruled out. But obviously, we have reinforced our forces because it is something which is imminent now. So in that situation, some strategic decisions have to be taken.
That was Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif. He later made a U-turn. He said the attack is not imminent and that the next few days will be crucial. Now, this is not Khwaja Asif's first blunder of the month. That came last week. In an interview, he was asked about Pakistan's history of supporting terrorism, and the minister did not deny it. He admitted that Pakistan did the dirty work for the West. Basically, an open admission of guilt. Meanwhile, in Kashmir, the attack remains fresh in people's mind. More videos are emerging from last week. A new one shows a bird's-eye view of the attack. It was shot by a tourist who was zip-lining through the valley. Both he and the zip-line operator are now being questioned. Take a look. These videos show the horrors of last week. Yet the plotters remain free. India is rallying the world to take action. It is trying to hold Pakistan accountable. Yesterday, the United Nations launched a program for terror victims. And there, New Delhi called out Islamabad. Listen to this.
The whole world has heard Pakistan's Defense Minister Khwaja Asif admitting and confessing Pakistan's history of supporting, training and funding terrorist organizations in a recent television interview. This open confession surprises no one and exposes Pakistan as a rogue state fueling global terrorism and destabilizing the region. The world can no longer turn a blind eye.
Pakistan was also at the meeting. Their diplomat completely flipped the script. He described Pakistan as a victim of terrorism. He claimed that more than 80,000 Pakistanis were killed by terrorists since the year 2000. 80,000 Pakistanis. Sure, the number suggests a problem, but it hides a key fact. Pakistan actively cultivated these groups. Pakistan armed these terrorists. They funded these terrorists and they shielded these terrorists. Yes, some of them have now turned against Pakistan, but that does not make Pakistan a victim. If you play with fire, you will get burnt. That does not mean you're a victim. That means you're a dangerous fool. Pakistan needs to understand that distinction and India needs to call them out more often. If not, Islamabad will try to hijack the narrative. Right now, their strategy has three parts. One, the LOC firing. The idea is to try and deter India. Two, diplomatic maneuvering. Pakistani leaders are speaking to their Gulf partners. They're trying to put indirect pressure on India, and at the United Nations, they're crying victim. And finally, the third part of their strategy, Pakistan is calling for an international probe. It's a farce that must be called out. Just think back to the 26/11 Mumbai attack. India gathered evidence in multiple dossiers. We gave proof of conversations, training, planning, solid, undeniable evidence. What did Pakistan do with that? Absolutely nothing. The 26/11 plotters live under the Pak Army's protection. Same thing happened in 2016. That's when Pakistani terrorists attacked the Pathankot air base in India. Again, India gathered the evidence. We also allowed a Pakistani team to visit the base. Yet, no action. So do not fall for this international probe demand. This is nothing but a distraction. Proof or not, Pakistan will never crack down on terrorists. So India will have to do the job on its own. It's been 1 week since the Pahalgam attack, a week of grief and rage. India is hunting the terrorists behind the massacre, the 4 men who killed 26 innocent civilians. Right now, 4 counter-terror operations are underway across the valley. 2 of them are in the south of Kashmir. 48 tourist sites have been closed to the public. 50 parks and gardens have been shut down. This is to tighten security. The details of these operations are classified. Troop movements are all under wraps. But here's what we can tell you about the investigation. Out of the 4 terrorists, 2 are Pakistani. They're called Ali, Bhai and Hashim Musa. They entered Kashmir about 18 months ago, sometime around September 2023. And how did they get in? Reports suggest that they came through the Samba-Kathua region. They cut a border fence and slipped into the valley. Since then, they've been linked to a number of attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. An ambush at the Zimor tunnel, killing 7 Indian workers. An attack on an army truck and a strike on an Air Force convoy. These 2 men were behind all of these attacks, so the army is now on a manhunt. Security forces are scanning the upper reaches of Anantnag. That's where they are said to be hiding. This hunt is not easy because of the unforgiving terrain, but the army is using technology and local help. They've identified the main suspect. Reports say it is this man, Hashim Musa. He entered India in September 2023. Since then, he's been active in the Budgam district. And he isn't just another brainwashed recruit. Hashim Musa is a trained killer. Reports suggest that he was a former para-commando in the SSG, that is Pakistan Army's Special Service Group, SSG. Interrogations of more than a dozen overground workers have confirmed Musa's military background. He is trained in unconventional warfare and covert operations. He left the army and joined the Lashkar-e-Toiba. Now, some reports say that he was dismissed from the Pakistan army. Others say that he was loaned by the army to the Lashkar. Either way, this attack has Pakistan's fingerprints all over it. And maybe that's why they're panicking across the border. As Indian forces tighten the noose, Islamabad is doing what it does best: running for cover. Reports say the Pakistani army is already evacuating terror camps, especially those in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. They're moving terrorists into army bunkers. Some are being moved deep inside civilian areas. Why? Because Pakistan fears that India will strike them. And this is an old tactic. Shift the pawns before the hammer falls. Shield the terror infrastructure by hiding behind civilians, and then protest when the inevitable retaliation comes. This whole situation shows you one thing. The terror factory in Rawalpindi is very much open for business. The Pahalgam massacre was their latest export. Pakistan still views terrorists as strategic assets, so India will find the killers. But it won't end the larger war on terrorism. For that to happen, the world must choose to see what has long been obvious to India. Pakistan is not just sheltering the terrorists. Pakistan is the terrorist. Yesterday we spoke about China's role in this conflict, why Beijing may hedge its bets. Tonight we'll talk about another Pakistani ally, and that is Turkey. Will Ankara arm Pakistan against India? This question is doing the rounds on social media, all thanks to a cargo plane. This week, a Turkish aircraft landed in Karachi. Flight data shows that it was a C-130. Now, this is a military transport plane made by Lockheed Martin. It is used to carry troops, weapons and vehicles. So immediately speculation began. Some experts suggested that Turkey might be sending arms to Pakistan. A few reports also claim that 6 planes were being sent. Today, Ankara has rejected all those reports. It said only 1 cargo plane had landed in Karachi, not to supply arms, but to refuel. Nonetheless, Turkey is a key player here. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was in Ankara last week. He was there when the Kashmir attack happened. This weekend, Pakistan's foreign minister dialed his Turkish counterpart. They discussed the rising tensions with India. So clearly, Turkey is in the thick of things. Let's take a closer look at what they want. First, their reactions. Ankara did condemn the terror attack in Kashmir, but their statement did not even mention India. No promise of solidarity, no outreach to New Delhi, and no attempt to cooperate. Then yesterday, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan found his voice. He urged India and Pakistan to de-escalate.
We reiterated our strong support to the people of Pakistan. We always underline that we do not want any conflict in our region and beyond. We wish for an immediate de-escalation of the tension between Pakistan and India before evolving into worse.
Erdogan is on Team Pakistan. He has molded himself as an Islamist leader. It's an image that has found takers in Pakistan. Under him, Ankara has consistently meddled in Kashmir. India considers it a bilateral issue, but Erdogan keeps raising it at the United Nations. So politically, there is alignment between Turkey and Pakistan. Erdogan backs Islamabad on Kashmir. In return, he gets an eager Islamic ally. Beyond this, military cooperation has also been growing. Turkey is Pakistan's second biggest supplier. We are talking about lethal machinery, like the Bayraktar TB2 drones, 4 corvette warships, anti-tank weaponry, and even fighter jets. Turkey helps Pakistan maintain its F-16 fleet. The two sides are also building a 5th-generation fighter jet together. So the military ties are deep and old. If fighting breaks out, Pakistan will turn to Turkey. The question is, how will Erdogan react? He has tried to provoke India in the past. Last year, Turkey sold surveillance drones to the Maldives. This year, Ankara donated an old warship to them, a missile-capable naval vessel. Same with Bangladesh. Reports say Dhaka is trying to buy tanks from Turkey. Plus, they already operate Turkish guns and drones. Do you see the pattern here? Both the Maldives and Bangladesh are India's neighbors. They fall under India's sphere of influence, yet Erdogan is arming them. It's a classic provocation tactic. Nothing new for the Turkish president, though. He's made a career out of meddling in other countries. We saw that during the Arab Spring in West Asia. We are still seeing that in Syria and Africa. So my point is quite simple. Recep Tayyip Erdogan is a dangerous and experienced customer. But does he have the appetite to take this further with India? At home, he is dealing with many challenges. The Turkish economy has collapsed since the pandemic. Instead of fixing it, Erdogan arrested his political rival, and that led to major protests across the country. It showed just how unpopular Erdogan is. Plus, he's invested diplomatic capital elsewhere. In Ukraine, Turkey is seen as a key mediator. In Syria, it is seen as a godfather to the new regime. And in Gaza, it is a powerful critic of Israel. So technically, Erdogan already has a plate full. All these conflicts are much closer to home than India or Pakistan for him. Having said that, New Delhi should be careful. Turkey and China form the backbone of Pakistan's arsenal. It is key to keep tabs on what Erdogan is doing. In the skies, it's not the winds that draw the maps. It is geopolitics. Air lanes are not shaped by weather. They're shaped by power and politics. Take India and Pakistan. For Indian Airlines, one of the most crucial corridors cuts straight through Pakistani airspace. It's the fastest way to get to the West, to both West Asia and Europe. But last week, Pakistan shut that corridor down. Now Indian Airlines cannot fly over Pakistan. They have to reroute. And that means longer journeys and higher costs. And India won't be the only one paying the price of this. Pakistan will bleed too. You might wonder how, and we'll tell you. You see, flying over another country is not free. Airlines pay a range of fees, overflight fees, navigation fees, landing charges. It adds up to hundreds of dollars per flight. Now, Indian planes do not land in Pakistan, but around 100 Indian flights used to pass through its airspace every single day. That flow has now been disrupted. Take a Boeing 737, for example. Pakistan charged about $580 per overflight. And that's just for the smaller planes. Bigger aircraft pay anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500 per flight. So even conservatively, Pakistan's daily loss starts at $58,000, and factoring in the bigger jets, it easily crosses $100,000 per day. $100,000 every single day. It's a lot of money for a broke nation. And remember, this is not the first time this is happening. In 2019, Pakistan closed its airspace after the Balakot strikes. This was for a period of 5 months. Nearly 400 flights were impacted every day. Reports say Pakistan lost close to $100 million. So Islamabad will feel the pinch this time too. And that's not all. India is also weighing a tit-for-tat move. India is considering closing its airspace to Pakistani airlines. Right now, these carriers use Indian skies to fly east, to Southeast Asia and to other countries. But New Delhi wants to shut that door. And if that happens, Pakistani airlines will have no choice. They will be forced to reroute either over China or Sri Lanka. And it does not stop there. The standoff is not just in the skies anymore. It could spill onto the oceans too. India is contemplating banning Pakistani ships from docking at its ports. Plus, there's trade. Pakistan has suspended all trade with India. Last year, India exported goods worth just about $450 million to Islamabad. Key exports include two main things. First is pharmaceutical products. That's worth over $110 million. India is now seeking the list of medicines and pharma products exported to Pakistan. So that's one major export. The second one is sugar. And that is worth around $85 million. Imports from Pakistan, though, are negligible. Just about $420,000. And while Islamabad may have suspended this trade, it'll have to find some other source because there's still the demand. So what will Pakistan do? It will source Indian goods indirectly, basically through third-party nations. And what does all of this add up to? This is a self-inflicted wound for Pakistan. Remember, India has other options. Indian airlines will fly longer routes, Indian ports will still be occupied, Indian businesses will export to other countries. But Pakistan cannot print dollars. It cannot afford to lose revenue, not in an economy already on the brink, not with an IMF bailout hanging by a thread. And if India responds by closing its skies, its ports and its markets, Pakistan will struggle even more because here's the reality. India is too big to isolate and Pakistan is too fragile to fight. This is not a battle of equals. It never was. And the more Pakistan plays this game, the more it risks checkmating itself. As tensions continue to rise, innocent families are paying the price for Pakistan's terror. As you already know, India has ordered Pakistani citizens to leave the country. The deadline for most short-term visas expired on Sunday, that is April 27th. And today is the final deadline for medical visa holders. Since the 24th of April, 537 Pakistanis have left through the Attari-Wagah border. Many more are scrambling to leave today. But what if they don't? What are the repercussions for Pakistanis overstaying their welcome in India? Here is a report.
This is the Attari-Wagah border, the only land crossing linking India and Pakistan, where confusion and panic is in the air. Families with suitcases tied to the roofs of their vehicles are arriving here in droves, hoping to cross into Pakistan. They are scrambling to comply with the orders after the Indian government asked Pakistani nationals to leave the country. This is the aftermath of the April 22nd massacre. Terrorists took 26 innocent lives in Kashmir's Pahalgam. So India responded with a diplomatic counter-offensive. On Thursday, New Delhi revoked visas for Pakistani nationals. The deadline for those holding short-term visas was April 27th. This included 12 categories of visas: visa on arrival, business, film, journalist, transit, conference, mountaineering, student, visitor, group tourist, Pilgrim and Group Pilgrim. The deadline for these visa holders ended on Sunday. Meanwhile, the deadline for those carrying medical visas is today, April 29th, after which medical visas for Pakistanis in India will no longer be valid. Union Home Minister Amit Shah had asked chief ministers of all states to identify and deport Pakistani nationals in their respective jurisdictions. According to reports, 537 Pakistanis have left through the Attari-Wagah border since April 24th. This includes 9 diplomats. Some Pakistanis have left via the airports as well. Now remember, Pakistan has also responded with a similar diktat. It's forcing Indian nationals to leave. Since April 24th, about 850 Indians have returned to their homeland, including 14 diplomats. Today, the number of Pakistani citizens leaving India has reportedly increased significantly, because this is the last day to leave India. According to reports, police officials in various Indian states say that they have not received any directive to extend the deadline. So, while many recognize that they have no choice but to leave, families are heartbroken.
मुझे वापस किया जा रहा है। मेरी क्या गलती है, मेरा क्या कसूर है, मुझे किस बात की सजा दी जा रही है, मुझे बस इतना जवाब जानना है। करता कोई है, भरता कोई है। गलत बहुत हुआ है, जिसने किया उसको सजा दो। हम आम पब्लिक का क्या कसूर है, हमें क्यों घसीटते हैं इन चीजों में। किसी की वजह से क्यों कोई और सर्वाइव करे, आप स्पेसिफिकली जो भी हैं आप उनको पनिश करें। ऑब्वियसली गलत है, क्योंकि आप किसी इनोसेंट पीपल को कुछ टॉर्चर करेंगे तो ऑब्वियसली ये गलत बात है।
Any Pakistani who fails to leave India as per the deadlines will be arrested, prosecuted, and may face a jail term of up to 3 years or a fine of a maximum 3 lakh rupees or both. This as per the Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025. India has delivered a firm response to Pakistan in the wake of the cowardly terror attack. But Islamabad's refusal to stop cross-border terrorism has led to this. Heartbreaking scenes at the Attari-Wagah border with innocent families caught in the crossfire.
Now let's talk about hard power. The world is arming like never before. Defense spending is ballooning, alliances are sharpening, and old rivalries are back in play. The result? A global arms race that is fiercer than ever. The latest numbers are out. The world spent $2.7 trillion to buy weapons last year, $2.7 trillion on tanks, jets, missiles and drones. This is data from 2024. This is a 9.4% increase from the year before. The report has been compiled by SIPRI, that is the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI. SIPRI releases global military spending data every year. Their latest report has delivered a chilling verdict. It says nations are preparing for long and bloody wars. So what's driving this frenzy? Who is profiting from it? And what does it mean for global peace? Let me try and break it down. First of all, the usual suspects. Unsurprisingly, the US is at the top of the table. Washington spent, and listen to this, Washington spent $997 billion on weapons last year. They account for 37% of global military spending. In terms of sale, the US controls 43% of the market share. Next in line is China. Their military spending has risen by over 7%. It now stands at $314 billion. And Beijing's spending translates to aggression on ground, particularly around Taiwan and the South China Sea. We've been telling you about it. Next is Russia. Moscow's military spending has shot up by a staggering 38%. They've been at war for 3 years, so the increased spending makes sense. But this is where the plot thickens. At number 4 on this list is Germany. Their defense spending is at $88 billion. Germany is now the biggest spender in all of Europe. There are 2 reasons for this. First, the war in Ukraine, of course. And second, US President Donald Trump's threat to exit NATO. Europe is taking notes. Their military spending has exploded by 17%, surpassing levels from the Cold War era. And what about Ukraine? Well, they are now the world's biggest weapons importers. Kiev spends 34% of its GDP on defense. I'll repeat that for you. Kiev spends 34% of its GDP on defense. That's the largest military burden for any country in the world. And this is a trend across conflict regions. West Asia, for example, Israel's military spending has surged by 64%. It is the steepest since the Six-Day War that happened in 1967. And these aren't just numbers. They are a mirror of the world's realities. Two wars have fueled global tensions, nations are arming to the teeth, and the global military-industrial complex is booming. We've told you about the top 4 military spenders in the world, the US, China, Russia, and Germany. Do you know who stands at number 5? It's India. Stuck between a belligerent China and an unstable Pakistan, India's defense spending has risen to $86 billion. And look at the timing of this report. Tensions between India and Pakistan are escalating post the attack in Pahalgam, the terror attack in Pahalgam. Pakistani cross-border firings are a daily routine. Air exercises and live fire drills have increased. Pakistan thinks it can size up to India. Their army may be able to fool Pakistani citizens, but numbers and facts expose them. There is no comparison between India and Pakistan. India's military spending is 9 times that of Pakistan's. Islamabad spent $10 billion last year. Contrast that with New Delhi. Yesterday, India signed a military deal with France. The Indian Navy has bought 26 Rafale M jets. The total bill is $7.4 billion. Basically, just this one deal is 70% of Pakistan's yearly military spending. Pakistan's army needs to wake up and smell the coffee. They don't have the funds and they don't have the numbers. All they can do is support terror groups because that is easier on the pockets. So here's the bigger picture. The latest CIPRI report is not about money. It's a warning about the world sliding towards chaos. Nuclear arsenal is growing, arms control is dead, nations want more weapons, whether it's costly jets or cheap drones, they want all of it. Every weapon matters. And it comes at a price because this is a deadly loop. More wars mean more military spending and more weapons mean more wars. Trillions are being spent, stockpiles are increasing, and peace has no place on the balance sheet. But the truth is, while everyone is arming, no one is safe. It's comeback season in Canada. Their elections were concluded late on Monday, and the big news is this: the Liberals are poised to form a government again. This is the party that was led by Justin Trudeau. Now it is led by Mark Carney. Trudeau had led the party to the ground. They were trailing the Conservatives by more than 20 points. Let me repeat that, a 20-point gap with the Conservatives. That's where Trudeau left the party. The election was seen as a done deal. But then came Donald Trump. He injected nationalism into the Canadian campaign, not on purpose, but accidentally, because he kept talking about turning Canada into the 51st American state. The Liberals tapped into that. They billed themselves as the party that will stand up to Trump. And the Conservatives, well, they were seen as soft on Trump. The strategy paid off for the Liberals. Last we checked, the Liberals are projected to win 168 seats. That is 8 more than the last election, but still 4 short of majority. The Conservatives are on track to win 144 seats, but their leader, Pierre Poilievre, has lost his own seat. On the 3rd position is the Bloc Québécois, and 4th is the New Democratic Party of Jagmeet Singh. Now, if the Liberals reach 172, they can form a government on their own. That is the magic number, 172. If not, they will take help from others. They want 4 more as of right now. Either way, one thing is quite clear. Mark Carney will stay on as Canada's Prime Minister. His biggest challenge will be Donald Trump, something that was clear from his victory speech.
As I've been warning for months, America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. Never. But these are not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never ever happen.
Prime Minister Modi has congratulated Carney. Listen to his message, and I'm quoting: India and Canada are bound by shared democratic values, a steadfast commitment to the rule of law, and vibrant people-to-people ties. I look forward to working with you to strengthen our partnership and unlock greater opportunities for our people. Now, this is a consequential result for India. I'll give you two reasons why. Number one, this is a continuation of liberal rule. India-Canada ties have deteriorated under them. Things reached rock bottom when Trudeau accused India of killing a Khalistani in Canada. The question is, will Carney be the same? He is seen as more pragmatic and more businesslike and less emotional compared to Trudeau. Still, he rode a nationalist wave to power, so let's see if that influences his policy towards India. That is one reason. Secondly, it's a resounding rejection of Khalistani politics, and that's very important for India. It's a rejection of the Khalistanis, especially of this man, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. He cheered Justin Trudeau's actions against India. He openly supported Khalistanis based in Canada. And where is he now? Broken and defeated. Jagmeet Singh lost his own seat yesterday. His party was reduced to single digits. In fact, somebody should do a case study on this man. In 2011, this party, the NDP, had 103 seats. In 2015, it was down to 44 seats. By 2019, they had only 24 seats. In 2021, they had 25 seats. And this time, they're projected to get just 7 seats. From 103 to 7. Jagmeet Singh has basically run this party to the ground. Yesterday, he announced that he was resigning.
I've been informed a party leader that I'll be stepping down as party leader as soon as an interim leader can be appointed. Now, I could not have done this incredible job without, here's a point, give me a second to break down a bit. We may lose sometimes, and those losses hurt, it's tough. But we are only defeated if we stop fighting.
Well, we say, chin up, Jagmeet Singh. Maybe you could run for office in a fictional country, like Wakanda or Khalistan. The fact is, this was always going to happen. Jagmeet Singh was supporting terrorists living in Canada. He defended separatism and violence as free speech. Did he really think that that was a winning pitch? Well, the voters in Canada have spoken. They have booted Jagmeet Singh out of the parliament. But other Indian origin leaders have done well. Overall, 75 candidates had Indian ethnicity in this election. Out of them, 23 are projected to win. That is up from 19 winners in 2021. Now, usually such cultural and ethnic ties lay the foundation of a solid relationship. But thanks to Jagmeet Singh, it was the opposite. His actions kept India and Canada apart. Let's hope this election will change things. We'll be closely tracking the moves of the new Canadian government. It's been 100 days. 100 days since Donald Trump took office. And if the United States thought that this time things will be different, they must have figured out by now how wrong they were. Trump did not just pick up where he left off. He doubled down. He unleashed a trade war on the world. He ended traditional alliances, dismantled federal institutions, issued a blizzard of executive orders, had showdowns with the judiciary, and changed the way the world views America. Our next report tells you why 100 days of Trump were 100 days of chaos.
100 days. It can make or break a presidency. Or in the case of Donald Trump, it can make or break a country. Trump's first 100 days wasn't a political honeymoon or a victory lap. It was a Category 5 political hurricane that blew away everything in its path. The US president signed over 142 executive orders. But did Donald Trump achieve everything he said? Let's take a look.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
It was called Liberation Day, though Wall Street had other names for it. Black Tuesday, Tariff Tantrum, the day my 401k died. In the White House Rose Garden, Trump unveiled a colorful series of charts detailing massive tariffs on imports from the world. Some countries like China faced 145% tariffs. This sparked a global sell-off before the press conference had even ended. Inside the trading floors, chaos reigned. The S&P 500 plunged. Mortgage rates soared. Consumer confidence took a nosedive, and whispers of recession grew louder by the day. Even Trump's most ardent supporters felt the squeeze. Farm bankruptcies rose. Factory layoffs accelerated. Construction projects halted midstream. So did Trump manage to make the world pay? It was a swinging punch, but whether he landed it, that remains to be seen.
I think that we will make a deal with China. I think we've had some very good talks, but we will have some very good talks remaining. And, I view it, and some people say, oh, rush. I think we have a lot of time.
Donald Trump calls himself the greatest deal-maker in the world. He promised to end the war in Ukraine on day one. Yet, 100 days into his presidency, the war is still raging. The US is talking to both Russia and Ukraine, but a permanent truce is nowhere in sight. It has left Donald Trump asking Vladimir Putin to stop, that too in all caps. He berated Ukrainian President Zelensky in the Oval Office.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
I'm not playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm
with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
Upended the transatlantic alliance with Europe.
The European Union was formed in order to screw the United States.
Called to transform Gaza into a West Asian Riviera.
I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
And wanted to take over Greenland.
We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
Another one of Trump's promises was cracking down on illegal immigration. So Trump dusted off the old wartime emergency powers. Deportations soared, legal protections evaporated. Families were split apart not with a gavel, but with a presidential pen. In the month of March, the United States recorded just 7,180 southwest border crossings, which is the lowest number in history. So he seems to have delivered on that. And the White House lawn is celebrating it. And not just this. Trump's 100 days have been a roller coaster ride. In the process, he has called birthright citizenship into question, attacked universities and law firms, rolled back environmental policies, and entrusted his best buddy Elon Musk with dismantling large parts of the federal bureaucracy. The chainsaw approach seems to have taken a hit on his approval ratings. They are at 41%, lower than any US president in at least 7 decades. But Trump thinks it's all going well. This is a man who believes that everything must fall apart before it can be rebuilt in his image. The only question left now is, after the breaking, will there be anything left to save?
Now let's look at the US Navy. They have a well-known motto. It's called, "Don't give up the ship." They seem to have taken this literally. The US Navy's aircraft carrier Harry Truman is in the Red Sea. Yesterday they came under attack from the Houthis in Yemen. Evasive actions were launched. The warship made a hard turn to dodge the incoming threats. And the result? The Houthi missiles were defeated. But the US lost a fighter jet. Not to the attack, but to the Red Sea. In an attempt to keep the ship safe, the crew lost control of a jet which fell overboard into the sea. This is not a plot from a Top Gun movie. This is a real-life blunder, one that has left the United States military red-faced. Now, let me give you more perspective. The USS Harry Truman has been tasked to deal with the Houthis. Fighter jets are launched from the deck. They drop bombs on the Houthis, and this happened yesterday as well. Everything was routine. It was going according to plan. until the ragtag Houthis shot back. The American warship made a hard turn, and in the blink of an eye, an F-18 Super Hornet fell into the Red Sea. One US Navy sailor sustained injuries. But the jet, well, that is gone. It is now at the bottom of the ocean. And this is no ordinary aircraft. An F-18 Super Hornet costs around $60 million. That's more than the defense budget of some nations, $60 million. These warplanes are meant for carrier-based operations. They have advanced technology. The Super Hornet is one of the best for maritime roles. And one aircraft is now in the Red Sea. The Houthis have dealt a $1 million blow for a fraction of the cost. We don't know if the jet was armed with weapons or if the US plans on recovering it. What we do know is this: the US Navy is in damage control mode. They say the jet just rolled off the deck and that the Houthi attack had no role in this incident. How can a $60 million aircraft just fall overboard? Somehow the details don't add up. The Houthis, of course, have claimed victory and taken all the credit.
In response to this aggression and its crimes against civilians, the Yemeni armed forces targeted the American aircraft carrier Truman and its accompanying warships, engaging them in a joint operation carried out by the naval forces, the drone air force, and the missile force. The operation involved several cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and drones over the past hours.
But there is more to this Truman show. This is not the first time the aircraft carrier has lost a fighter jet. 4 months ago, the warship lost another Super Hornet. That one was blamed on friendly fire. In 2022, another F-18 was blown overboard. The culprit, unexpected winds. This is starting to look like a pattern for a navy that takes pride in being a dominant force. These lapses raise uncomfortable questions. How can a $60 million jet just fall off the deck? Is it poor training? Is it faulty protocol? Or is it lack of leadership? The US Navy has launched an investigation. The Pentagon says the warship is still mission capable. But 2 lost jets in 6 months paint a different story. The Red Sea is turning out to be a costly gamble for Washington. The cost of the 2 Super Hornets is upwards of $120 million, and the Houthis have extracted even more. They have shot down at least 7 MQ-9 Reaper drones, and this is just in the last 6 weeks. Each drone is worth $30 million. Combine the jets and the drones, and the US has suffered losses worth more than $330 million at the hands of this Yemeni group. Now look at the Houthis. The rebel group fires cheap missiles and drones. They cost a few $1,000s. So the Houthis are winning the war of economics. But of course, they're paying a different price. The US airstrikes on Yemen continue. Hundreds of Houthi rebels have been killed. Their weapons and ammunition have been targeted. Yet the Houthis refuse to move an inch.
The Yemeni armed forces will continue targeting and pursuing the aircraft carrier and all hostile warships in the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea until the aggression against Yemen stops.
The United States is feeling the heat. For a self-proclaimed superpower, the campaign against the Houthis has turned into a PR nightmare. With every incident, whether it's a friendly fire or a jet overboard, the US is losing millions of dollars. And losing face, of course. The Houthis are more than happy with the outcomes, even if they were aiming for something bigger. So will Washington double down, or will it rethink its approach? Picture this: elevators halted, traffic lights knocked out, and trains disrupted. This is what Spain, Portugal, and parts of France suffered yesterday. There was a massive power cut. It hit critical infrastructure and caused chaos for millions of people. While power has been largely restored today, many questions hang in the air. Questions like, what happened? What caused the blackout? And was foul play involved? Our next report tells you.
The blackout's impact was dramatic. cash quickly replaced card payments. Elevators were halted. Shops closed their doors. Train systems suddenly failed. Traffic piled up on the roads. And police used armed signals to direct vehicles as lights went out. On Monday, a massive blackout hit a busy swathe of southern Europe. Spain, Portugal, and some of southwest France were affected. Dozens of major Iberian cities, such as Madrid, Lisbon, Barcelona, and Valencia, which are key hubs for transport and tourism, were brought to a standstill by the power outage. I can't breathe properly. I'm in a wheelchair on oxygen, and while I depend on electricity, I don't know how long the backpack and oxygen I have in there will last. Houses and offices were badly hit. Sporting events were impacted. Tennis fans at Madrid Open left the courts as play was suspended. Flights at major airports were suddenly delayed or canceled. Trains were suspended, subway tunnels went dark. Entrances to stations were taped off, and passengers were evacuated out of blackened train cars through tunnels. Many people slept on the floors of train stations. We found out that they were letting people sleep here, people in our situation. So we got here. We were prepared, had our sleeping bags, duffel bags, clothes.
I came to the station because with that outage I cannot find my parents. They left this morning from the station. I don't know where they are.
In Spain and Portugal, which share a population of around 60 million people, governments hastily arranged meetings. They declared a state of emergency, asked residents to minimize their movements, and scrambled to restore power. So what caused the outage?
15 gigawatts of generation was suddenly lost from the system, and that it was lost in just 5 seconds.
To give you context, that's power worth nearly 60% of the country's energy demand gone, within 5 seconds. Meanwhile, Portugal's Prime Minister Luis Montenegro has blamed Spain for the outage, saying that it did not originate in Portugal. Officials say that there is no evidence of foul play, like a cyber attack. Experts claim that the blackout was the result of an atmospheric phenomenon. It caused a severe imbalance in temperatures and led to failures in electrical systems. This phenomenon is well known within the industry, but it is rare for problems to occur at such a massive scale. So while the exact cause behind the outage remains unknown, as of today, power has been restored to millions of people. In Portugal, the power grid has stabilized. In Spain, electricity is almost fully back. While questions linger in the dark, as the lights flickered, people welcomed electricity and normalcy with cheers.
And now it's time for Vantage Shots, images that tell the story. Firefighters in South Korea struggle to tackle forest fires. A speedboat goes airborne while trying to break a speed record in Arizona. And in an Arctic town, a man barely outruns a polar bear by escaping on his snowmobile. Finally, we're taking you back in history. On this day in 1991, a tropical cyclone struck Bangladesh, killing over 140,000 people. It was one of the deadliest tropical cyclones in history. Over 10 million people lost their homes. It caused damages worth $1.7 billion. We're leaving you on that note. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
The Prime Minister Modi.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Bluntly, Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.